Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our session today. My name is Shanti. I hope you're all well as we shift seasons. And welcome to a co-design session on agroecology and how it can be a tool that will lead to just food system. Myself, Shanti, and Kiamo here, my colleague, we work with Project Biome, with Matt as well, and Steph supporting. Thank you to them for supporting this session. And Project Biome is an organization that sees that there are gaps in narratives and in networks, that if we come together and we bridge organizations and paradigms, and we find those narratives and the tools that have been forgotten and integrate them back in our systems, we can steward a regenerative era. And we really believe that one of these major lighthouses of power that can steward this era is youth. And so thank you all for being here as champions of the generation that will bring change. And we found that agroecology is a topic that is of interest for us as a generation. We see its power to bring just food systems. And that's why we chose this topic to unpack and discuss and figure out how can we create a webinar that has major impact for the agroecological movement. And so we decided to co-design this webinar with youth. And we had our first usual session when we designed these webinars with the youth, and we realized, oh my goodness, there is so much to unpack in agroecology. There's so much to say, there's so much to figure out. How can we utilize a tool like a webinar for such a huge movement like the agroecology movement that is really booming in the continent. And this is our third session, and a lot of you are new to this process. I do recognize some names. Good to see you again. And so we'll be dividing the session in three sections where we're really needing to hear your voice and to co-create with you. And there will be a few tools that we use here that maybe some of you are not familiar with. Just know that myself, Kiamo, and Stephanie are here to support. If you have any questions, please pop them in the chat. Our three sessions, we're going to go from number one is looking at what is currently there. So what is the current state of the food system? And then we'll be looking at what should be done. That's the second session, what should be done. And then the third session, which is very related to transformation, will be how do we get there? So we'll be taking you through each session, and Kiam will be explaining the tools we'll be using. We're going to use tools like Mentimeter and ChatGPT, which I'll share screen around, and yeah, co-create. And please feel free to pop some comments in the chat. We'd love to hear you guys. And yeah, Kiamo. Would you like to add something?
Okay, thank you, Shanti, and welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Such an exciting journey to just have youth voices be in the forefront in discussing and shaping our futures. So going forward, we are going to have an open discussion with everybody, and we will be so we've got a few questions and prompts we'd like to get your feedback on, get your opinion on, and yeah, hear what you have to say. I'm going to open a Mentimeter, so that will be one of the applications that we will be using. Mentimeter is essentially where we are going to be able to generate our data together. And I'm going to post a link to the Mentimeter here in the chat so that everybody can have access to it. So yeah, there we go. So you should see it in the chat now. So in the Mentimeter, you will, let me just open it up on the screen. Just give me a moment. But yeah, in the Mentimeter, we will basically you can put in your responses based on the questions that we're asking, which are what are the 3 biggest issues with our food and farming systems and why? So please speak openly, and everybody also give each other a chance to share your opinions. And yeah. Okay, so as I mentioned in the chat, so the Mentimeter link is there. If you can just click on the link, it should direct you to Mentimeter, where you can give us your opinion and your input as to what are the 3 major things that you think are wrong with our food system as it stands today. Uh, Wonderful. Right, we got the word generator going. There we go. Food policy, overconsumption. Absolutely. Yeah. If you have any trouble using Mentimeter, if you're using it from your mobile phone, you may be prompted to use a code. The code is available just here at the top of the page there. So it's 622-9247. And that should also give you access if you are having any trouble. But the responses are coming in like rapid fire. Right. Food is not healthy. Absolutely. We've had so many case studies of poor farming practices and food systems creating a lot of disease, especially on the continent. And it's such an unfortunate thing because these are supposed to be the things that are bringing us nutrients and helping us grow and sustaining us so that we can actually serve our communities and serve our dreams. So yeah, food is not healthy. Lack of diversity, land access for land access, small farm, okay? Overconsumption, agrotoxins, corporatized food system. Yeah, people are hungry. That one is a major, major issue, especially on this continent. Pollution, knowledge, yeah, there is a lack of knowledge as well around the benefits of regenerative farming systems like agroecology and how they contribute to creating quality food and enough food for all of us to have. And the lack of transparency, that's a very big one, absolutely. It's quite, actually had a strange experience the other day where I went to Checkers to buy oranges, and I've got a 2-year-old son, and he thought they were lemons because they were so yellow, and I couldn't understand. It felt like they were I guess, harvested too early. And it's quite interesting to have to explain that to a 2-year-old who is still learning the world. Supply chain links, absolutely. The values, the value chain as well that processes food is also very flawed in the way that we've experienced it. Farmers don't make money, pesticides, access to finance, that's a very big issue, yes. And food policy. Great. Thank you so much for sharing this feedback. If you have anything more to say, please feel free to do so. And we will show a video after everybody has put in their answers. If you would like to say something, share your input through the sound of your voice, because this code design session is supposed to, honor our voices being heard as the youth. Please raise your hand. And yeah, take the stage. We really would appreciate any feedback, all feedback that you'd like to share. So if you'd like to speak directly at any point, just put your hand up. There's a prompt at the bottom of the screen to raise your hand, and then we can unmute you and yeah, and have your voice heard. Waste, animal cruelty, no vitality in food. Absolutely. and youth involvement, I think, must be one of my favorite points right there. I find that in a lot of the farming systems, youth make up such a disturbing minority. And it's quite terrifying when you think about, who is supposed to inherit this duty, I suppose, that farming is in creating food and creating the ability to give nutrients and feed the nation. Right.
Amazing answers. We see someone has raised their hands.
Hi, it's from Cape Town. I mean, I can see by the people here, we have people with a lot of experience, and I'm wondering it would be interesting to find out what people think the causes of these problems are. Like, why do we have a lack of diversity? Why is our food system corporatized? So I'm wondering if anybody has comments on that. We'll maybe you can contribute.
So I see in the chat we've got some people from KZN. We've got wow, got quite a few people from KZN. We've got Malawi. Welcome. Gift. See, you can't see the option of putting your hand up. So let us just and see if we can unmute you there.
I've added him. Gift, you're welcome to speak.
Thank you. I don't know if you guys can hear me. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. Hi everyone. My name is Gift from Johannesburg East, representing Greenland Harvest and Greenworks. A quick one. Lack of transparency. Well, the reason from my side, why there's lack of transparency is because obviously if we find out what's being used in majority of our foods, then big companies will be in trouble. And obviously it works hand in hand with pharmaceutical companies because you are what you eat. So if everyone is transparent about things, then a lot of people will be in trouble. So you got to keep the ball rolling and sustain the pharmaceutical industries and sustain other big corporate businesses. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree very much on that. And it ultimately seeks to serve capitalism more than anything, which I think is quite a major driver for why we see a lot of these issues with our food systems at the moment. And yeah, it's something quite unfortunate, but I think that I'm grateful to know that there are alternatives that exist and that we can actually explore other pathways and new avenues to explore, to create food that is quality, to create food that we know how it's grown, knowing that it's going to regenerate, knowing that the soil itself is going to be healthy again, and then ultimately the nutrients. Yeah. So thank you for sharing that, Gift. Really appreciate it. All right. Would anybody else like to share? Please raise your hand. We would really appreciate anything and everything that you have to share in this discussion. Or otherwise, you can also post it in the chat if you're not sure about speaking out loud. Great. All right. Let me see. Yes, please go ahead. Bilani, are you there?
Oh yes, Good evening, everyone. I'm Bulelani from representing Care for the Planet. And one thing that stood out about this topic is food policies. Our food policies are not so right according to what's been happening with our land rights and the food systems in the shops, like Gift said. The pharmaceutical industry is taking over our food systems. So if we're gonna focus more on fixing our policies, then our smallholder farmers will have a chance in producing clean food to start there. Because of, if you're gonna speak about organic food, then we are going to another topic. But if we can say clean food as first, then we are stepping somewhere. But if we can fix our policies, and yeah.
Yeah, that's clean food. I really appreciate, yeah, I like that. And that's also a shift in how we look and think about things and how we communicate them, because it gets right to the point and it really adds a lot to what Gift was saying as well. So thank you for sharing that. Yeah, anybody else would like to say anything? Angie, Rachelo, Chongo, Busisiwe, anybody who would like to contribute, please do feel free. Yes, Angie.
Hi guys, I'm Angie, and just grateful to be a part of this. I actually work more in the food business support space, where businesses are sort of more on the service industry and retail and catering and whatnot perspective, and they are based in communities around the country, grassroots, small businesses. So just understanding from, yeah, how we link it all together, because it's so vital. So appreciate being here.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. All right. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. Is there anybody else who'd like to speak before we move on to the next section? I see someone else has their hand raised. I'm just not able to type these, is it? For me? Yes, there we go. All right.
Thanks, Kiamo. It actually, for me, also boils down to food security and redefining food security from a grassroots. And we actually do need the youth to be involved in it or included in the decisions that are made when it comes to food security, redefining it from the grassroots, and what are they going through, and how do we actually, as the youth, get involved in indigenous ways of farming, so it can help us localize it, or maybe check on your climate, what can you grow where. So for me, as part of PGS, for us, that's the important one, is to redefine food security, because it deals and covers a lot in the spectrum. Thanks, and glad to be here.
Thank you. To redefine food security. Absolutely. Thank you. That's also valuable. And we are going to move on to the next section, which, yeah, Shakti will guide us through that.
Thank you so much for all your feedback. I was trying to take note, and there's just so much really good stuff in here. That's why we've recorded, and we're going to, harvest everything you guys have said more deeply. However, I tried to take some keywords, and what we're going to do now is something that is quite interesting. And let's bear in mind that we're just trying out new tools. How can we use technology for to support our causes? So we're trying out this. This is the first time that I do this. So please be patient with me on such a big scale with such a big group. So we're going to use ChatGPT to help us draft a poem about what we've just spoken about. And so I was trying to take note while you were speaking, and also keeping track of the chat and the Mentimeter. And I wrote to ChatGPT, please write a poem about how our African food systems, although I could say global because it's very much a global issue, food systems are broken and destroying our lands and damaging our health. Industrial agriculture is killing our lands and disempowering small local farmers. And then I say to ChatGPT to use the terms climate change, water, youth involvement, pollution, soil erosion, overconsumption, agricultural policies are not constitutional, and redefining food security. I'm not sure exactly if this is what this is going to give, but that's the thing that is great with ChatGPT for anyone who doesn't know, although if we're all youth here, we might all have encountered this. This is an AI system that can help you create various things from, like you can see here, emails and schedules and programs. And we're going to test out if it works for poems, because we found that one creative way of adding to a movement that I feel we need to honor a bit more is creativity, arts, and culture. How do we weave that into something like agriculture that I've rarely seen that happen? And we're hoping this can have can add to this movement. So I've written that down while you were speaking, and I press enter, and we're gonna see what it gives us. Again, this is not something to take copy paste into into a concept note, rather something that we can work from and keep working on as a collective, and would love your thoughts on this. So here is the poem that it wrote. It's quite long. We'll read maybe the first two verses. In lands where sun kisses the earth so warm, where vibrant cultures thrive amidst the storm, where food systems falter, fractured, torn, by broken cycles, by greed we've sworn. Climate change whispers in the breeze, a warning of impending unease. Water, once plentiful, now a tease, as parched fields beg for merciful seas. Youth yearn to nurture lands anew, but industrial giants obscure the view. Their hands, once skilled, now idle few, as policies betray what's true. Wow. I'd love to hear what you guys think of this. I'm going to put it in the chat. You can copy it here, and I'm going to put it in the chat here.
So now that we know what the problem is and know what it should be, we would like to work out how do we get there. And we'd like to pose some more questions and opinions to gain from you, your input around what are the specific elements that need to be in place for our food and farming systems? Who is responsible for making sure that these elements are put in place, and you know, what needs to go, what doesn't work anymore, what is no longer useful to us in what we are working to do. So sorry. So in imagining the future, envisioning the future, please, will you give us your input in the chat? You could just post in the chat. Beautiful co-visioning. Yeah, I'm really moved. I'm really excited, and I resonate with so much of it. I mean, a lot of this governs just how I look at the world, and I know that we all share that in common. That's what has brought us here this evening. So what does a sustainable food and farming system look like in the future? It looks like, the vision is that nobody is hungry. We have seed banks and indigenous seed banks. It's a future where chiefs and farmers have a symbiotic relationship, where there are circular farming economies, where there is respect for the land and the people, food from the soul, food from the soil. It's a future where the supply and value chains are localized. It's a future where communities and farmers are working together, where there is compulsory agriculture curriculum in schools, It's a future where our relationship with the environment is intimate, that when it sneezes, the others catch flu, and health conditions of the society mirror the image of the environmental health. It's a future where orchids are being planted in communities, where there are veggie gardens in every backyard. The future where we are embracing indigenous cuisines, where governments are championing quality food and farming practices. It's a future where there's reduced carbon footprint, and communities are able to create what they need for themselves. I think we're all in sync, where nutritious food is produced for coming generations. And again, the education of it is being emphasized on a few levels. It's very important that we're exposed to these already in school, and not just as a brainstorm, in our future when we're faced with a problem. So thank you all so much for your feedback. Shanti, can I hand over to you?
Yes, thank you. Wow. I just started dreaming, and I feel really inspired to continue this journey. I think some of you may relate, especially working in the agroecology or change-making spaces, or just feeling drawn to it and wanting to contribute. It can be very overwhelming. The pressure is immense, and it may seem like a lot of the gaps are widening and the darkness is darkening. However, when we find each other in spaces like this and we share in this way, potentially we can gather more energy to continue moving forward. And hope is the greatest tool. And so thank you all for giving me some of that now. And I look forward to seeing how this can be weaved into action campaigns and policy advocacy and support programs and webinars, which is where we have the ability to contribute. Webinars that gather the voices and that can put pressure on those who are responsible to implement the changes required for generations forward to live in this world that you all just dreamed. And you see where 20 of us can dream a world that is quite wonderful. So while you were inputting answers and between the co-visioning, I inputted a few prompts in again ChatGPT, where we could potentially work on a poem together. Whoever feels called potentially could get in touch after, where we could finalize a poem. And the one that came up, so I wrote a similar prompt to what I wrote in the previous session, and with some of your contributions. And the poem that was generated, I also added and asked ChatGPT to change a few of the verses based on what you said. And it's a poem of hope this time, and it goes a bit like this. In fields of tomorrow, ripe with hope's embrace, sustainable farming, a vision we chase. No hunger shall linger, no tables left bare. For farm-to-table abundance, we lovingly prepare. Fair prices for farmers, their toil honored true. In the soil they nurture, our wellness accrue. Healthy food, healthy souls, a symbiotic dance, as we learn from the earth in her fertile expanse. In classrooms, young minds cultivate seeds of insight, studying agriculture, their futures burn bright. Motivated youth eager to till the land, for they see in its bounty a purpose grand. Indigenous wisdom, a guiding light, in the rhythms of nature they find their might. Circular economies, where waste finds rebirth, in the tapestry of life, each thread holds worth. Respect for the people, respect for the earth. In this harmonious dance, we find our true worth. Connected to soil in its richness we thrive, as minerals and nutrients keep our spirits alive. With humanity healed in nature's embrace, we find our redemption, our sacred space, a world where all flourish, in balance we stand, humanity and nature hand in hand. So I will be sharing this poem. It's a beautiful contrast with the first one that we drafted together. And I would like to take it as a foundation to actually create one from our own minds. Again, this is an interesting topic to explore. How can technology be integrated with our actions today in an honorable way, with integrity? And this is going to be a fascinating discussion outside of this topic only. And so I would love to, if anyone has something to share with your voice, right now would be the time. We have a few minutes left. And would anyone like to share something? Please do raise your hand.
And in addition to that, we will also share a short poll before closing, asking where you're from, your age. So please make sure to fill it in before you leave. We'd really, I'd love to know which part of the continents are, which part of our continent and possibly beyond is being represented here. All right, so the poll should pop up on your screen. And yeah, you can just fill it in. And yes, as Shanti mentioned, if you'd like to share anything in closing, please do. We have a beautiful comment in the chat from Angie saying, "Beautiful said, Shanti. Renewed energy and hope from group connection. Let's keep doing what we can, and hopefully we can inspire others to do the same."
Thank you so much, Angie. And Bulilani says, remember, the journey of learning principles and ethics is ongoing. By incorporating these principles into our lives and communities, we can contribute to a more sustainable and resilient future for all. I find principles and ethics to be similar to the conditions in which plants grow. It's not necessarily just what we sow and what our actions entail, but it is the values and ethics and principles that guide them. If we can all agree on them, then we could create an incredible world. Oh, someone has their hand up. Please go ahead.
Greetings.
Hi, Tinashe.
Hello. Hi. Thank you so much. Personally, I'm really motivated because I do believe that most of our problems that we are succumbing to is a result of the disconnection that we have with the environment and everything that counts. So I think agroecology is the first step toward the right direction, which actually ensures that we thrive as a people. So thank you very much for this session. We hope to learn more and to engage more.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That's exactly it. And with reconnection comes regeneration. And the reconnection happens in these spaces where we can connect to each other and ourselves. And the more we do it, the more it happens. And we're really hoping at some point we can see maybe each of you and more youth champions organizing these kinds of spaces where it's for us to reconnect, we have to speak about it. And from the speaking, the doing will come. And yeah, so thank you all. Anyone else would like to share a final word before we close? You're welcome to raise your hand. So long, I'll just fill you in on the next steps. We will be sending a feedback email, and if you feel called to get more involved, we also have co-design sessions with smaller groups where we're really thinking hard on how can we, with these co-visioning and these co-designing session, craft a webinar that we're hoping to launch in a few months with some strong partnerships, which I consider the elders almost, the Elders Council that can support us youth in having our voices heard and finding exactly what we want to say with these voices. And we're going to be unpacking everything that was said in this session and coming up with a summary and continuing with each session going deeper and deeper and gathering as many people to add to this united voice. And please stay tuned for the next co-design session through our email database, or you can follow us on LinkedIn, Project Biome on LinkedIn. We post our co-design sessions there. And Kiamo and I will pop our email addresses in the chat, and you're welcome to send us an email. We're there for that. Kiamo's job title is Youth and Network Activator, and myself, I'm a network weaver, and so we are here for you. And we're here to continue the conversation, and we hope to see you at the next one. We'll also be sharing the slides that we all came up with in this session. This is absolute open IP. We want you guys to have everything we're co-creating here and to share it if you can. Maybe if you think a youth in your surrounding would benefit from something like this, or we could benefit from their voice, please also send them our way. And yeah, Kiamo, have I missed anything?
Yeah, thank you. You got it all. You got it all. And yeah, thank you again to everybody for participating. It is always such a blessing to be in a room. I mean, although it's a virtual room, but a room nonetheless with people, like-minded thinkers, and just having that activism as youth to really do something and yeah, activate our future, activate what we want, and not stand for what we have unfortunately inherited in the problems we see, but that we're also all very hopeful and positive. So it's yeah. We are going to play out some music. I'll play some music as we end the session and close the session. And our emails are in the chat. So it's gamo@projectbiome.org if you'd like to reach me. And if you would like to get in touch with Shanti, it's shanti@projectbiome.org. And yeah, we're here to continue the conversation. So thank you, everybody.